to our webinar today. It's going to be Replace FRX Management Reporter. I'm going to present myself. My name is Carolyn Vargas. I am your account manager, relationship manager here at MIG. And Sherry Ibbotson, she's our consultant here at MIG. For the audio controls, you can choose your mic and speakers. You can use, on your computers. That's very easy. Or you can also dial by telephone. There's an option provided at the bottom. And, as we go along, we'll go over the presentation. Questions at the end. We'll have you guys can submit your questions through the through the panel, and at the end of the session we'll have a Q&A session for you guys to go over any questions you have. The agenda: about us, introduction to Management Reporter. Then we'll have interactive report viewing, deeper integration, report collaboration, design flexibility. We'll have our live demo, and as I mentioned, a Q&A session. MIG. Okay, MIG, we're experts in the implementation and support of leading financial and businesses applications from Microsoft. Our solutions are Microsoft Dynamics GPE, Microsoft Dynamics SL, and Microsoft Dynamics CRM. We have been in business since 1998, and we assist organizations and stream their business process and maximize their productivity. Certifications: we are a Microsoft Gold Certified Partner. We are recognized by the Microsoft Business Solutions as a premier ERP VAR. And we also have the option, if you're viewing this webinar, to get your CP credits. You let us know, and we'll be happy to provide you with that. You will also get at the end of the presentation a copy of our presentation for you to have. Looking to replace FRX. So introducing Management Reporter 2012. I'll just leave it to Sherry, our consultant. She's going to continue with us.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Ibbotson. I'm a senior consultant with MIG. I will be your presenter for this webinar today. So welcome to our webinar. Let's begin. During today's session, we will be discussing replacing FRX with Management Reporter for the Microsoft Dynamics ERP system. We'll start by discussing some of the key features in Management Reporter, including interactive report viewing, which includes the ability to add comments and notes to your reports. Deeper integration, which enables better access to financial data contained within your Microsoft Dynamics system. Report collaboration, a feature that enables the user to efficiently collaborate with other team members while viewing the MR financial statements. And Management Reporter also offers a wide range of flexible financial report design features. So let's look at the interactive report viewing in greater detail. With the interactive report viewing, you can, as I mentioned before, attach comments to important rows in the report version. You can attach these comments while you are reviewing the report on screen. You'll have it displayed. In the screen that we have shown here, this particular user, Jill Carter, has selected the facilities line, and she's made a comment to indicate that they are in budget, their facilities budget is on track for this particular period. You can add comments at the financial, the account, and the transaction level sub-reports of Management Reporter. And the comments will be saved with the reports as well. And another feature we're going to discuss next is the export to Excel and XPS or printing. With the export to Excel feature, this feature was also in FRX as well. I just wanted to discuss how it's used with Management Reporter. So while you're viewing the report, as you can see from my screenshot, here's an example of one of the Management Reporter reports displayed inside of the web viewer for Management Reporter. And while the report's on the screen, you can select down at the download button, and you can see the various options that you have for exporting the report to Excel or XPS viewer. XPS is Microsoft's version of PDF. It's a protected print option that users can't change. They can't change the reports once they are converted into XPS. And so what I've done is I've included an example of what an exported Excel report looks like, and you can see it retains the same look and feel as the original report. In FRX, when you use the export to Excel feature, it comes a little short of actually looking like the original report, so this generates a much more professional looking Excel output that's suitable to send to your users. Let's discuss a few other items of the interactive report viewing. When you're inside of the report viewer, there are two viewers that come with Management Reporter. One is the web viewer, which if you're familiar with FRX's web port, that is the replacement for that web port. And you're actually reviewing the reports inside of an internet browser, a lightweight browser version. And there's also a desktop viewer for Management Reporter that's similar to FRX's viewer. Inside of the report viewer, you're able to attach charts and create what they call a quick chart. So you can select a column or a row inside of the report while it's viewed, and you can quickly create charts. The options that you have for charts, you can create a bar chart, a column chart, line, pie, and area, and you can control the color of the chart and the size. Once you create a chart inside of the report viewer version of the report, it'll stay with the report, and you can also copy and paste those charts that you create into other presentations, perhaps. So move along to the next feature here. One of the nice features that they included with Management Reporter is the ability to open a Skype for Business chat window while you're viewing the reports on the screen inside of the viewer, the web viewer, that is. And the nice thing about the instant message that appears, the actual chat window, is it'll contain a link to the report. So the recipient on the other end of the chat, they can easily click the link in the chat window, and it'll open the report right to the field of the row of the report that you want to discuss with that user. So this is a wonderful feature for collaborating with your colleagues on the report viewing. So let's look at another feature of the interactive report viewing. While viewing the report inside of the desktop viewer for Management Reporter, there is a go-to button. It's contained at the bottom of the window while you're displaying it. And this go-to button allows you to quickly jump to any section of the report. So You don't have to scroll down to find the section. I need to look at the long-term liabilities. Where is that? You can just actually select the go-to button and just click on, the section that you want to view. There's actually a search feature inside of the desktop viewer display that allows you to search for, a particular description or calculation, or certain kind of, a certain text rows that have no format codes. And so you can quickly find a key value in a report, such as an account value or description. And this is something that's new with Management Reporter that you didn't have inside of FRX. So let's go ahead and move on. The next feature I want to discuss with you is this deeper integration. What does deeper integration mean with a Management Reporter? Let me go ahead and take a look at that. With the deeper integration, you have the ability to drill from the Management Reporter reports, summary level reports, directly to the supporting values in the Dynamics ERP system. And this is a feature that's also in FRX, so it's nothing new, but in regards to FRX, but a Management Reporter does this drill back much better than FRX. It's a much more professional experience when you're using it. With FRX, there was quite a delay between when you clicked on the field and when it actually opened the detail inquiry window, and sometimes it opened the inquiry window and it was blank. So with the Management Reporter, they've really made an extensive effort to ensure that when you are using this feature, that it goes directly to the data that you need to look at in Dynamics. And then, of course, you can drill back from the detail that's contained here. So you can see our amount for the cash, petty cash. If I just highlighted that, I'll see a selection to open in Dynamics for that and locate the detail of this amount. And you can see the detail inquiry window inside of Dynamics opens up, and it opens with the same amount with the account balance, and then of course you have all the detail that makes up that amount. Let's go ahead and move on to the next item here. This feature is something you definitely don't have in FRX, which you might want to consider moving to Microsoft Management Reporter sooner than later. FRX and Management Reporter can both be run on GP 2013 now. You can actually run both of those side by side when you're going through the process of migrating from FRX to Management Reporter. With FRX, when you added a company in Dynamics GP, you had to go through a cumbersome process to add that into FRX. You had to create the company and assign some settings, and then you would finally be able to actually create a report. Now, if you, once you upgrade to Dynamics GP 2015, this particular feature I'm going to discuss will become enabled. When you open the company setup options on Dynamics GP 2015, there's now a box that's at the bottom of that window. And the box is called Enable General Ledger Reporting. That is the integration with the Management Reporter tool. And so if you click that particular box and click OK, the new company is added instantly into Management Reporter. There's nothing else that you need to do. You can actually start writing reports on it instantly. I also wanted to mention that if you are using the analytical accounting module with a particular company inside of Dynamics, you now have the option to either include or not include the analytical accounting reporting inside of Management Reporter. And with FRX, you had multiple companies in there. With Management Reporter, you also have an additional company that's created with an AA appended to the name. The nice feature here is that you can choose to not enable that analytical accounting reporting. And for those of you who use AA, the reason for not wanting to include that might be clearer to you than others, but it's nice now to be able to have the feature to choose whether or not you actually want to be able to do any AA reporting inside of Management Reporter. I wanted to mention that Management Reporter is the replacement, the upgrade replacement for FRX. It's not so much a new tool, it is the replacement for FRX. Microsoft purchased FRX some time ago, and they used FRX as the guideline to build Management Reporter. And that's why you'll see a number of the features that are in Management Reporter look identical to FRX because FRX was the underlying program that they used when they developed it. So let's go ahead and move on to next section here. Now we're going to talk a little bit about report collaboration. The tools in Management Reporter were designed to replace the FRX web port. That was a really complex tool that went with FRX that allowed you to push your reports out to shared folders and publish them. And so what they did is Microsoft built this report collaboration into the Management Reporter application. So it doesn't require any kind of additional setup. It just works. You would have to create a couple of shared folders to publish your reports to. So let's talk about this a little more here. With the report collaboration and Management Reporter, you can create personalized and secure views of data for all output types. When I say output types, I mean XPS Viewer, which is Microsoft's replacement for PDF, Microsoft Excel, and report viewer versions of the report. FRX had report viewer versions of the reports as well, and so you have those with Management Reporter. So what you can do with this is you can actually create packages that contain one of these report types, maybe just a viewer, or all of the different report types. So you can create this package and publish that out to one of your shared drives up on SharePoint or wherever you choose on your network. And then when the user opens the file, they're only going to be able to see what they're allowed to see based on their security within the Management Reporter application, and that security is actually based on the underlying security of the Microsoft Dynamics system. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you an example of the published report formats. You can see here one of the published report formats is the read-only XPS report format, which is the equivalent of PDF without having to purchase and install the PDF writer from Adobe. You can actually use the XPS report writer and report formats with any of the Microsoft products, including Microsoft Office and Microsoft Dynamics applications. And you can also publish a personalized Excel file. In the past with FRX, individuals would set up reports so that when they generate them, the report will create an Excel file and put it in a place on the server. And the problem with that, the inherent problem with generating the Excel reports directly from when you're running the report, is that you never know what version you've got. So you can go and sure, the Excel report's there, but you don't even know what version you're looking at. If that's the most recent version, somebody can override it when they run it. So Microsoft's done away with that mechanism, and they've chosen to move more towards this other secure report output option that allows you to publish this personalized Excel file. And Management Reporter does have versioning in it, so you'd be able to open different versions of an Excel file or a published report. Let's go ahead and let's move on. We're going to look at a little bit of the design flexibility here. A great feature management reporter that they added to the replacement for FRX is the missing account analysis tool. In FRX, when you run a report, you never actually knew if you were missing any accounts. You would actually have to generate the report to the screen, then export it to a formatted Excel, and then at the bottom of the report you would have a little section that would tell you if there's missing accounts or any duplicates. That was very cumbersome, time-consuming, and really difficult, made it really difficult to maintain your reports. With Management Reporter, you can now utilize this missing account analysis tool. With this tool, you can choose to group by different building blocks. And this tool will analyze all of your row formats contained inside of the Management Reporter. And it'll determine, based on those row format, the dimensions or segments in the row formats, whether they contain all of the general ledger accounts, or if they're missing accounts based on the design of the report. You can also choose to exclude certain reports from the analysis because some reports may not have the complete range of your trial balance in it. The nice part of this feature is that you can click on this little button here and it will actually open the row format that you need to take a look at. So we're going to look at that a little more during the live demo. I just wanted to tell you about that now. You're thinking about that. So let's go ahead and let's look a little bit more at the design flexibility. With Management Reporter, you have the concept of what they call dimensions. A lot of people have heard about these dimensions and aren't sure what they are. In FRX, they're called segments. And the segments are actually just the segmentation that's inside of your chart of accounts and the dynamic system. So the segments have a name. You can name those inside of your accounting application or not. And with the Management Reporter, you can control how the account descriptions are formatted for the segments and for the GL accounts themselves. And so this is just an example of how it's displayed inside of the output. This is the output with the actual MR report viewer, and so you have some options here for how you want to see the account description. So maybe you want the account description to actually contain the GL account itself. So that's one nice feature there. And talking about dimensions, let's discuss dimensions a little further. Inside of FRX, you created these account groups, and you would assign the account group, let's say, at the row format. So when you run the FRX report, if the accounts are contained inside of those account sets, let's call them account sets, that's probably a better term, and so the users would maintain those account sets. You still would end up having accounts that you miss as a result of that. But a Management Reporter, the upgraded version of FRX, has improved this process. They've converted over to the use of dimensions, which are once again just the segments from the chart of accounts. And you have the ability to create dimension sets. And it's the same as the account sets. You can choose a number of different counts that you want to add to the dimension set. In this example here, we're seeing a dimension set called Name Department and Cost Center, and that's including the dimension for the departments, Cost Center and Department. So it's actually taking two dimensions and combining them together into one. And you'll have to kind of see this in action for it to make more sense for you. So let's go ahead and move on here. And it's similar to the mechanisms that are in FRX regarding the rolling forecast headers, the ability to use the base plus and base X spread from and spread to. This is an example of what the column layout looks like in a management reporter, and you'll notice it is almost identical to FRX because management reporter is the upgrade to FRX. They just changed the name basically. So, there are a few things that changed very slightly, such as the way that they choose the name of the periods covered. Instead of it saying current year to date, it says periodic. The term periodic is used instead of current. And you can see here that you can use base 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that type of thing. And an example of what this particular column layout will produce when you run the management reporter report shown right here. So you can see that you have some sections that are actuals and some sections that are budgets. And this is a very nice report. There's a number of report samples that come with management reporter. And a lot of companies, once they upgrade to management reporter, then they go ahead and they'll choose some of these column layouts and make a couple of changes so that they can use these column layouts with their existing FRX reports that they migrated. Now that covers the PowerPoint portion of our demo. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the management reporter tool, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the differences between FRX and management reporter and some of the things you want to look out for when you're preparing to migrate from FRX and upgrade your FRX to management reporter. I am logged into the management reporter tool, and you can instantly see that management reporter looks like FRX. And so let's take a look at some of the settings and features in here. Management reporter has the same concept in regards to rows, columns, and trees. Those are called building blocks in FRX. They're called definitions in management reporter. So you can see the report definitions of the catalogs, the row definitions of the row formats, column definitions of the column layouts, reporting tree definitions of the reporting trees. Here's a nice feature that you might like. Let's say I'm in this reporting tree and I want to see all the reports that are associated with a particular tree. I can go ahead and put my cursor on here and right click, and now I can see all of the reports that are associated with that particular tree. I can also select the reporting tree and the report that's associated, and it opens up the catalog, and in this case called the report definition. So this is a good time to just chat about the design of the catalog. This catalog is the FRX catalog renamed report definition. It contains the same fields that FRX's catalog contained. The fields are moved around a little bit to make it a little easier to use. So you can see here, you can select the company name, you can select the same detail levels, the provisional, you can report on posted and unposted activity. All of these are pretty much the same as they were in FRX. You can select your base period the same way, it works the same. You also have a feature here where you can include all of the reporting currencies. The discussion of the multi-currency consolidation was a little bit outside of this session agenda. But I did want to mention that FRX, the currency translation in FRX was called DAX. That was a dynamic translation utility. And a lot of companies that were multi-currency that did business with a lot of different countries or had divisions in different countries, they utilized that DAX table to generate translated financial statements back into US dollars or their functional currency. Management reporter does not use DAX. The multi-currency translating process is performed inside of the Dynamics application. I'm going to just go show you that real quick. So here is Dynamics. This is GP 2013. The number of individuals that are on FRX, would potentially still be on this version. They would not have, jumped up to GP 2015 if they're on using FRX. So I just want to show you in here, if we go to Tools, Setup, Financial, Multi-Currency. So this is where the settings that replace DAX and FRX are configured. You define a particular range of accounts that will translate using the current translation of values. You have historical and you have average. So this is the location where that's defined. And then of course you select account ranges and what have you. This is a little bit outside of this session, but I wanted to make sure that you understand that when you convert from FRX to management reporter, you need to consider, if you're using multi-currency, you know, the process that you will need to go through to convert from DAX to the multi-currency inside of Microsoft Dynamics. And you can import the historical exchange rates that you've been using into Microsoft Dynamics using Integration Manager. So that's something you might want to consider. So let's look at a few of the other settings inside the catalog. I'll try to keep it brief here. So here's your row format. And you can go ahead and you can click. There's a little icon here that you can click to open up the row format. You have the column layout. So this is nothing new to FRX users. I'm just going to go ahead and close this so I can look at a different report. I'm going to go ahead and just look at this balance sheet here. Double click on that. So if I select the row format here, and I still use the same terminology as FRX because I've worked with FRX for more years than I can even remember. And so I'm very familiar with that program. So here's an example of a row format, and I just want to chat with you about a little bit about these dimensions while I'm in here. Inside of FRX, you would have a section called the GL link. WKS GL link. You have WKS links that you can link out to Excel spreadsheets and what have you. A management reporter uses this concept of dimensions, so you actually have a lot more flexibility in regards to how you pull the data into these row formats. So if I was to double click on here, I can see that this report now, the balance sheet is using account categories instead of the actual GL accounts. And the reason for doing this is because inside of Dynamics, you have a GL account. You have a number of GL accounts that are assigned to particular category codes. And you, in the past, most companies did not utilize the category codes. They just knew that they had to set them up when they set up new general ledger accounts. In Management Reporter, they're heavily used, and the reason being that the inherent problem with FRX was managing when an individual added a general ledger account to the FRX report. You'd go through this process of not knowing the account was added, and you'd have to add it into FRX or your report wouldn't balance. Now, with the Management Reporter, if you utilize these account categories, it's going to pick up, the report will always pick up anything that's been assigned to that a particular category. And as you know, in the Dynamics ERP system, it's required in GP that you assign an account category to all your general ledger accounts. So you can see that there's no point of failure there if you're using the account categories. But you can also utilize, instead of account category, this is the section where you can create dimension sets. I just want to kind of show you that. So this is where you would go ahead and manage these dimension sets. You can create new dimension sets and select, give it a name, and then select different dimensions that you want to add. And there's some great documentation on a lot of these features that explain step by step the process that you go through to utilize these. But I just wanted to mention that this is the window where you would select, let's say, a GL account. So let's say I took this account category out. So your department, account, division. And once again, that's what we discussed here very quickly. If I go to Tools, Setup, Company, Account Format, you can see Department, Account, Division, Department, Account, Division. So this way you have, a visual way of understanding what the dimensions are. They're just your segments. Just maybe they should have called them segments. I'm not sure. But at any rate, same way it works in FRX. You double click on it. Here you have where you can put the ranges, or you can select a dimension value set, such as sales. That would have we created maybe a dimension set that has all the sales accounts in it. And you click on this ellipse button, which is a button with the 3 little dots. And then you can select the GL account here. I'm just going to select the cash range here. I have quite a few accounts. So, and then I click OK, and you can see the account ranges are indicated with the semicolon, the little periods. And I can go ahead and add another account and just click this plus or minus sign, and that way I can add and subtract accounts. So, in that respect, it works like the same way that FRX works. So we don't have too much time left here, so I want to just focus on a couple of the things that you're going to find the most useful when you migrate to Management Reporter. I want to mention that there's report groups. You're allowed to create report groups inside of Management Reporter. In a report group, what that is, let's go ahead and show you. So I'm going to go create a report group definition. And in here, I can select any of my reports. Say, okay, I'd like to run that. And you can see you can quickly add this. And so I can put a number of reports in here. And remember, I'm going to save this report group. So anytime I run the report group, it's going to run all the reports that are in it. So I could have 10 different reports, and I can select a particular period. This feature replaces the report chaining. So you want to make sure that when you're preparing to migrate from FRX to Management Reporter, that you remove the report chaining from the system. That's no longer needed because you're going to use these report groups to produce packages of reports, and it's quite efficient. Here's the other thing, that when you generate the reports, you can have a number of different distribution paths for the reports. So you could have any number of report libraries that are just folders that you've created so that you can distribute certain reports to certain users, and then there's a report distribution tab here. So I'm going to say no. And then, of course, you can also create report schedules. And well, some individuals think that we're creating schedules really don't make sense because you're not sure if you're ready to distribute the report, and you don't really want these reports just distributed on their own. Well, the thing is in larger organizations, you need to distribute the budget to actual income reports to the departmental heads so that they can manage their budgets. And they like to see the budget to actual. Some companies like to see that every day. So you might want to set this to run at night. And as long as everything is posted for the day inside of the ERP system, then running this at night, would be a good idea, and it would save time. Now, that was something that you were able to do with the FRX web port. So I'm sure that you can think of ways that this would become useful for you. In here, you can select an individual report or an entire report group. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. We are at 8:42, so we have a few more minutes here. I'm not going to really go too far into security. The security here is tied to the security inside of the Microsoft Dynamics ERP system. You can see that you can select a viewer, person who can only view the report, or a generator, person that can actually run a report, or a designer, a person who can actually design a report, or the administrator, then they can do all kinds of different things inside of here, just about every single thing you can do. And you can see you can kind of fine-tune those permissions. You can create security groups, and you can select what company access a particular user has. So with the few minutes we have left, I just want to discuss a couple more things, and I'm going to run a report so that you can see. The building block groups, this is, if you recall, the specification sets. Those are the specification sets that are in FRX. This is now called the building block group. and this is where you can export all of your reports into a TDB. In Management Reporter, it's a TDBX file. So if you can imagine how similar Management Reporter is to FRX, all they did was add an X to the end of the export file. So if you want to view what's inside this building block, you can go ahead and click View, and that'll show you all the different reports in it. You couldn't really do this in this manner inside of FRX. You got this little window that showed the report list, but this is just a nice feature here, the way that it's broken out. And then, of course, you can export and import your specifications, that's your building block groups. But this is not the mechanism that's used for migrating FRX from management to Management Reporter. You actually have to use a migration tool to convert over. With that being said, I wanted to indicate that migrating from FRX to Management Reporter, success is predicated on how clean your FRX reports are before you migrate them. You want to go through your FRX reports and get rid of any catalogs that you're not using. You want to make sure all the catalogs you are using have a row format and a column layout at a minimum assigned to them, and you want to make sure every report catalog has a description. So as long as you kind of adhere to those basic concepts and you clean up FRX prior to migrating to Management Reporter, that will ensure that when you migrate over to Management Reporter, that you get a high success rate. Majority of FRX to Management Reporter migrations are about 98% successful, and usually only have to change one or two minor things, and that might be a setting a calculation in a row format or something. Now, another nice feature, and then I'm going to go ahead and hand the session back to your host. I just want to show you some things up here. Management Reporter, you don't have to do the compact spec set or do any compacting. The Management Reporter is all managed from a single server location. There is no big client code that you have to install on the local machine. When the users click on the Management Reporter, it's actually running inside of a browser. It doesn't really look like that, but it is a very light client. So it's got a different kind of concept in regards to the way that it works with Windows. So let's go ahead and just look at a couple of these more things here. You can select different companies. Once again, you can see I have an AA company, and each company can have a different currency assigned to them. Let's go ahead and just close this. We have let's look at this. So let's just look at a couple of the tools. That's what I have left here. So I can here's the missing account analysis. That's what I was talking about earlier. This is like the #1 feature in Management Reporter that convinces users to finally upgrade to Management Reporter and upgrade their GP systems or ERP systems to the current version. Right now what it's doing is it's evaluating all of my row formats and my column layouts and determining if anything's missing. So it says here, my balance sheet default, there's just one item. So if I double click on that, it goes right to the row format. There it is. It's telling me I'm missing something, and so you can utilize that. We discussed it earlier, so that's I don't want to go too far into that right now, but that's a great feature. And the last thing I'm just going to mention is about the report wizard. If you click on the report wizard, maybe you have new users, or you want them to become familiar with this program. You can go ahead and put them in the report wizard and let them take a shot at creating a report that way. The wizard, you could select different report templates that you want to use. Let's say that if I select income statement and I click next, I can go ahead and go down here and I can select just my revenue section, which is right here, and in the 4,000 section. You can see that was my sales. So you can add the various accounts there, and then you can add, you could say, switch this over to employee-related expense and put this in here. So you can see that you start to build that, and then it'll break down the code. You click next, and it creates a report for you automatically. The monthly trial balance is an easier one. You can we're just going to go ahead and select that monthly trial balance, create one report for the entire company. You can actually have it create for multiple segments, so that's where the tree comes in. I'm going to go ahead and click next there. You can give it a name, my YTB, and a description. You can cut and paste using Control-C and Control-V in all of the windows inside of here. And I wanted to generate this here afterwards, so I'm going to click Finish. Now it's going to generate the report, and this will be the first report I've actually generated for you. It's running right now. So you can see that wizard just created this this report for me, and it's actually generating the report. I just want to mention something about the report queue, which is a little different than the management reporter, or I'm sorry, the FRX report queue. This report queue does actually tell you when something's wrong. In the past, when you'd run an FRX report, it was difficult to determine what was going wrong with the report. Like here's an example. I had run this report last night, and this report was designed for a different ERP system, and so it didn't have it wasn't configured properly to run in my demo. But it tells me here the report has referenced another dimension from a different ERP system, and so like such as maybe when you're running the balance sheet, if you don't have the rounding adjustment, you can set the precision of the rounding for the balance sheet reports from multi-currency, and it's just indicating me that I've exceeded that limit, and I fixed it, and then the other ones were running right. So I'm going to briefly show this here. This is what the top-level trial balance looks like. It's a little different than FRX, although some people have written their FRX reports to look like this. If I go ahead and I click on here, the first thing I notice is that where'd the reporting tree go? Normally, I mean, in FRX, you see it open inside the navigation window. Here, they've put create a little icon down here. And so you can just quickly select one of those there and what have you. So let's go back. And I wanted to, show you that this is the web viewer. This is the replacement for the web port in FRX. And it has had a lot of the same exact features if you're using the web port. I'm not sure if you would be. The web port has not been supported for some time. But these are where, this is the display where you'd select to publish. You can publish reports to SharePoint. You can select the currency display. So let's say I want to see Canadian dollars. I'm not going to really see much difference by selecting Canadian dollars. But I can also show if I had charts assigned, and this is the great thing. If I want to see previous versions of a report, I can actually click this, and maybe there's 10 versions of the report that have been run once a month. You can actually select this show previous versions and select any of the previous versions. So if you want to see the balance sheet or income statement last month or a week ago or the last time you run it, this is a phenomenal feature right here. And then of course you can use the download button, and this is where you'll download and goes directly to Excel. And I already showed earlier how the reports look in Excel, and you can download it to the management report viewer. And I'm not going to do that right now. And so let's go ahead and let's see if I can just show you one more thing, and then I will hand it back to my team. Go ahead and close up. So that pretty much covers management reporter. Obviously, there's a lot more things in here that I didn't get to cover. I mean, we have only an hour that was allotted for the session, but we'll have more webinars in the future that will cover some of these other options here in greater detail. So the last thing I want to show you is this. A lot of people ask about the charting in here, and just going to discuss that real quickly. So this is the report viewer for Management Reporter. It's very similar to the report viewer tool that's inside of FRX. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select this balance sheet report and generate that here. This is the tool that you would use if you wanted to add charts to the reports. You can also email from this window. So let me show you how you add a chart. So this is the actual report generated in the screen. I can go ahead and I can select column. And to add a chart, all I have to do is say insert quick chart. I can say, oh, I want to create a chart for my balance sheet. Click on Pie. Bingo, I have a chart. That's how easy it is to create charts in here. And if you use this little push pin, now you have a chart. It's going to stay with your report until you remove it. And you can go ahead and you can add some comments as well. But you can see how quickly, this is a great feature, how quickly you could create a chart. And this is probably not the kind of chart you would create, but with that being said, I just wanted to thank you for joining me in this portion of the session today. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hand the session back to our team, and they are going to take your questions, and I'm going to see if I can answer those for you. So thank you once again, and I'm going to go ahead and hand the session back to our leader.
Okay, thank you so much, Sherry, for taking the time to be with us today. We move forward, as you said, to our questions. So it looks like we have a couple. As an IT support person for MR 2012, I have found that I have to stop MR services in order to restore a GP test database, since MR 2012 places active links onto the test database. Is there a way to isolate the test database so I can be restored with a copy of a live company without having to stop the MR app processes services?
No, you can't do it. You're going to have to stop those services to be able to restore, because there's active links that are tied. There's dimensions. It uses it really doesn't matter if you're using the legacy or the data mart with management reporter, you have to stop those services to restore. So.
Okay, great, thank you. We have another one. Can you briefly discuss any upcoming MR service pack update releases impacting on software fixes and enhancements? We're currently on MR 2012 CU13.
Well, the CU14, that I believe is the most current release, and you can go ahead and review the fix list for the CU14 to see what's added and included with that fix list, to see if those are fixes that will address issues that you're currently having. I believe it's a CU14 is the most recent version.
Looks like Gary's adding something to that question as he thought about it. We are, what are the difference between the MR application services and the MR process service? What role function do they each perform?
Well, I mean, that's a little outside of this, the discussion for this session. I would have to, send information over to you to explain the breadth of the difference between the process server and the process and the the management reporter services. That's so. If you want to provide your email, we can go ahead and we can send maybe a little document over to you about that subject.
Yeah, we have that. Great. That's from Gary. Gary will send that over to you. We have another question from Tiffany. What is the lowest version of Dynamics SL, and what is compatible with this writer?
The lowest version of Microsoft Office Excel that's compatible with Management Reporter?
Yeah, it says, what is the lowest version of Dynamics SL that is compatible with these? Yeah,
oh,
I would
Solomon.
These writers.
You're talking about Solomon. Yeah, I would have to have, I myself am a Dynamics GP consultant, one of the trainers for Dynamics, and so we would have to contact you and give you that information.
Okay. And then we have another question from Eric. Is there any way to send reports to employees who do not have access to Dynamics?
Sure. You can deploy the Excel reporting reports, and those don't require any access. The user does not have to have a login into GP for the users to view those. And those are refreshable, which means every time a person opens one of those Excel reports off that shared network drive, they're going to see the latest data from the GP system, and they do not have to have a login into Dynamics to be able to view those refreshable reports.
Okay, great. Looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm going to go next to our support, MID support. MID support plans are reliable and consistent support service program for businesses that are running Microsoft Dynamics. Our benefits include support with Microsoft Dynamics products. We have support with any related third-party add-ons, and we have fixed rates as well. Great. At the end of the webinar, we'll have a survey that will appear. This survey is designed to help us evaluate and improve our webinar, so please take a few moments to provide us with some feedback. We really appreciate that. And thank you so much for being with us today. Questions, you can email us to us at info@mig.com, and you can learn more about us at www.mig.com. Thank you.